Nami. During a mission, Belemmer, a female marine, encountered two orphan children in a war-torn land. They were Nami and Nojiko. Feeling sorry for the children's plight, Belemmer took them in and left the battlefield, returning to her peaceful hometown, Kokoyashi village. From then on, Nami's life changed completely. Belemmer left the marine, stayed home, and grew tangerines, selling them in the village to support her two children. The family wasn't wealthy, just enough to get by. But Belemmer was always happy to have Nami and Nojiko by her side. One time, Nami was caught stealing books from the library. Belemmer sternly scolded her for the theft. But the truth was, Nami took the books because she loved drawing maps and longed to understand the world outside. After being scolded, Nami sulked, spoke harshly to her mother, and ran away from home. The next morning, when Nami returned to apologize, tragedy struck. Arlong's pirate crew invaded the village and seized Kokoyashi. They forced the villagers to pay ransom to survive. Anyone who didn't pay enough was beaten or killed mercilessly. Belemmer only had enough money to ransom one adult. Arlong didn't know she had children. She could have easily lied to survive. But Belemmer refused. She used all the money to ransom Nami and Nojiko. Immediately afterward, Belemmer was shot dead by Arlong in front of her two children. Her last words were simply, "Nami, I love you." After losing her mother, Nami's grief didn't end there. Arlong discovered Nami's talent for map-making and forced her to work for him as a navigator. Nami was beaten, imprisoned, and forced to bear Arlong's crew's tattoo. At that time, Nami was just a child, but she had to endure all of this. Arlong promised that if Nami gathered 100 million berries, he would let her buy back the island and release the villagers. With no other choice, Nami pretended to obey Arlong for many years. She worked for her enemy while secretly hiding every penny she earned. Nami drew maps in the middle of the ocean, tears streaming down her face, hoping one day to redeem the freedom of those she loved. Nico Robin. Nico Robin grew up almost without a mother. When Robin was only 2 years old, her mother, Nika Olvia, left Ohara Island to search for the truth about the Void Century, leaving Robin in the care of her maternal uncle. But her uncle's wife treated Robin cruelly. In her eyes, Robin was nothing but a burden and bad luck that shouldn't exist in the family. In Ohara Town, Robin was also unwelcome. Simply because she ate the Hana Hana Nomi devil fruit, she was called a monster, ostracized, and hated. Robin had no friends, no one to play with, and was almost always alone. The only place where Robin felt less lonely was the Tree of Knowledge Library. The librarians there treated her kindly, allowing her to read and listen like a normal person. Robin grew up crying a lot and reading a lot. She read to the point of becoming a child scholar, even teaching herself how to read poneglyphs, something very few people in the world could do. Robin was especially close to Professor Clover, who treated her like a student and was a rare source of emotional support in her life at that time. Later, Robin befriended Jaguar de Sol, a giant and former vice admiral of the Navy. Thanks to Sol, Robin felt for the first time what it was like to have a true friend, to laugh, talk, and play like a normal child. But then tragedy struck. One day, Nika Olvia unexpectedly returned to Ohara and was immediately pursued by the Navy. The invasion quickly spread to the library of the Tree of Knowledge. The Navy discovered that the Ohara people were researching the Void Century, something the world government absolutely forbade. To set an example, they decided to wipe all of Ohara off the map. Despite everyone's pleas, Professor Clover was shot dead right in front of Robin. The library was burned down, and the world government launched the Buster Call to completely destroy the island. Many scholars did not flee. They accepted death to protect humanity's knowledge. Robin, who had barely seen her mother again, became the target of the massacre, which targeted women and children as well. Sol dragged Robin to the beach to escape, but they were subjected to intense shelling. Enraged that the Navy dared to attack a child, Sol stood up against them. At that moment, Admiral Aokaji appeared. Knowing he could not win, Sol decided to sacrifice himself to protect Robin. He laughed and told Robin to continue living, then was frozen forever. Witnessing all this, Aokaji spared Robin and deliberately created an opportunity for her to escape. But the world government wouldn't let her go. They put a bounty on Robin's head when she was just 8 years old. From then on, Robin lived on the run for many years. Anyone she trusted could betray her for the bounty. Robin's bounty was even higher than that of many dangerous criminals, making her hunted more intensely than ever. Robin gradually lost faith in humanity and grew weary of life. Finally, Robin chose to work for Crocodile. It was the only way for her to continue the research that the Ohara people had risked their lives to protect. Sanji. Even before Sanji was born, his father, a Vinsmoke judge, harbored the ambition of turning his children into perfect super soldiers using genetic engineering. The experiment succeeded with the other children, but failed with Sanji. He was born completely different, without extraordinary strength, without coldness or emotion. While his brothers became ruthless and aggressive, Sanji was gentle, emotional, and kind. In Judge's eyes, Sanji was just a useless, flawed product. But the truth is, Sanji wasn't genetically modified because his mother took an extremely dangerous drug to prevent the experiment from happening. She hated what her husband was doing to their own children. The price was her life. Due to the side effects of the drug, Sanji's mother became seriously ill. In her final days, Sanji was the only child who truly loved and cared for her. He cooked for his mother every day, hoping only to make her a little happier. This angered Judge, he punished Sanji, locking him in a cold cell like an animal. Not long after, Sanji's mother died, leaving him in profound grief and completely broken. Fortunately, his older sister Rei still retained her human heart. She secretly released Sanji, helping him escape from the Germa kingdom. Sanji fled in the night, completely cutting ties with his family and the name Vinsmoke. Some time later, Sanji became a kitchen assistant on a strange ship, doing only dishwashing. But that ship was quickly seized by the Cook pirates, captained by Zeph Redfoot. Soon after, a terrible storm struck, destroying the ship. Everyone died, leaving only Sanji and Zeph alive, adrift on a deserted island with nothing but rocks and the sea. Initially, Sanji hated Zeph, believing that the pirate had ruined his chance to start a new life. Food was extremely scarce on the island. Zeph gave Sanji only a small portion of food, keeping a large bag for himself, which only fueled Sanji's resentment. Sanji eked out a meager living on that food until he nearly starved to death. At one point, he considered killing Zeph to steal the food. But then Sanji discovered a horrifying truth. Zeph's bag contained no food, only useless treasure. Zeph had given all his provisions to Sanji to survive. Zeph had even cut off and eaten his own leg. Sanji was stunned. Besides his mother, no one had ever loved him that much. Yet, a strange pirate was willing to sacrifice everything to save him. From then on, Sanji and Zeph became close, sharing the dream of finding the All Blue, the legendary sea where all kinds of fish in the world gather. After being rescued, they opened a restaurant on the sea together, and Sanji's story officially begins. Tony Chopper. Another member of the Straw Hat Pirates who had an incredibly tragic childhood is Tony Chopper. His story doesn't involve many deaths, but it's filled with the pain of loneliness and abandonment that lasted throughout his childhood. Initially, Chopper was just an ordinary reindeer. But after accidentally eating the Hito no Mi devil fruit, he became a creature with the form of a half-human, half-animal being. This difference frightened the reindeer herd, causing them to chase him away. Chopper had to live alone on the cold, snowy mountain, but humans weren't any better. They saw him as a monster, chased him, shot at him, and then abandoned him in the snowstorm, completely unconcerned about his survival. Chopper had almost no one by his side until he met Dr. Hiraluk. This eccentric old doctor took Chopper in, despite his unusual form. For the first time in his life, Chopper felt love and acceptance. The two lived together, ate, laughed, and Hiraluk even taught Chopper his first lessons in medicine. But that happiness didn't last. One day, Dr. Hiraluk suddenly and coldly dismissed Chopper, acting as if he didn't want to see him again. Chopper was heartbroken, thinking he had been betrayed. Later, Chopper learned the truth. Dr. Hiraluk was seriously ill and didn't want Chopper to witness his death, so he deliberately pushed him away. Panicked to save the man he considered a father, Chopper searched medical books and found an image of a type of mushroom that he believed could cure all diseases. Chopper risked his life crossing dangerous places, getting injured all over his body, just to bring that mushroom back. When Dr. Hiraluk saw Chopper return, Hiralok was so moved that he burst into tears and hugged him tightly. Only then did Chopper learn the painful truth. The mushroom was poisonous. Dr. Hiralok knew that too, but he still drank it because he had seen how much Chopper loved and tried for him. Chopper frantically ran to find Dr. Hiralok, but it was too late. Dr. Hiralok blew himself up, still smiling and saying that he had lived a worthwhile life. Chopper returned to his loneliness, pain, and remorse, believing that he was the cause of everything. He was just a little reindeer, wanting to save the only person who had ever loved him. Fortunately, Chopper later met the Straw Hat Pirates. And for the first time in his life, he truly had a home. And those are the next names in the details of the Saddest Past story in One Piece. Remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Thank you for watching. See you in part 2.